Welcome to another exciting edition of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy. Today I want to talk about something or other that pretty much all of us are going to run into. As they say, there are only two inevitabilities in life, death and taxes. And unfortunately, we will not be here forever. Something will take us out. And a lot of people watching this collect. I do the same. In fact, I've got a video coming up which tells you, hey, go ahead and collect stuff that you pick up that's neat because you're going to sell it at some point. But I guess the key is make sure that you sell it at some point. We've picked up, Mr. Magazine picked up that collection of the T206, T205, and other great baseball cards. I'm sure that the person who assembled that collection would have done a much better job of listing them for sale than we are. And that's no slight on us. But he knows the history behind them. He knows where he got them from. He knows the variations. He knows. Nobody is going to be better at selling something than the person that put the items together. I've got baseball cards and comic books. And when you get into baseball cards, you've got a lot of different years where there's a white letter variation, or there's this variation, or there's that variation on the 62 tops where the second series has a little different color tint to it, and that's worth a little different than the others. You've got the different color backs on the 52 tops. The tobacco cards, you've got the different color backs, so on and so on. Well, I've saved them for a reason. You know, I pick up a tobacco card, it's got a different back, I save it. So now I've got two of the tobacco card with a different back, et cetera, et cetera. You know, the white letter variants and the 69 tops, and so on. My wife doesn't know about that. My wife has no interest in knowing about that. And why should she? So she's going to inherit the collection should something happen to me. And she's going to look at it, if she even looks at it. And she's going to say, why has he got two of the same card? And she may not notice that there's a slight variation in it. She may not notice that on the back of the 59 tops there's a traded variation. One says traded, one doesn't. So on and so on. That, you know, the checklist in the 58 is alphabetical versus. She's not going to know any of that stuff. But it makes a tremendous difference when you're trying to sell it, let alone the grading. My wife doesn't know how to grade a baseball card or a comic book. So she's not going to maximize value out of it by any means whatsoever. She's not going to take the time to go through the reference books in order to properly identify the issue. I mean, I may not remember what issue it is, but I've got the guidebooks and I've done enough research in the past that I could find it fairly quickly. She has no interest at all in doing any of that stuff, and I don't much blame her. She probably would just wholesale it all out to Mr. Magazine and let him do the hard work on it, which again, I would give my blessing to doing that. But the best of all possible worlds is that I slow down on buying, and I get the living room and the porch and the garage all cleaned up and all that stuff listed, and then I move into the collection, and I start to sell the things. And I take a look at the comics and, you know, look at the Hulk 181 and say, yeah, this needs to be pressed and graded. This needs to be sold this way. This needs to be sold that way. And it's the only way to maximize your money back is for you to sell your own collection. And I know it's painful to do so. I don't believe I've sold anything out of my collection that I've cared about ever. It just continues to accumulate, which is a blessing and a curse as far as that goes. And at some point, I need to actually slow down and start selling the items off from that. And Mr. Magazine and I joke about that. They, oh, yeah, we'll sell that as soon as we get everything else sold, which is the goal. But at some point, I need to face the reality, as do all of you, that we're not going to live forever. And you don't want to get in a position where your heirs sell something or other for 5 cents on a dollar or 10 cents on a dollar. Just to get rid of it quickly because it doesn't mean anything to them. You could get, 75 to 90 cents on a dollar. Some things you can get, more than a dollar on a dollar if it's something really rare and you do a really good job of describing it and listing it. So figure out your plan to get out of your collection so that you don't burden your relatives with it, because that absolutely is what it is. I mean, one in a million times you wind up with something like the Uncle Jimmy collection where one of the large auction houses is interested in it. But most of us, we've got nice collections for what we have, but the auction houses aren't going to look twice at it. Or if they are, they're going to cherry pick, the best 25 items, and then you're left with the rest of it. And how are you going to get rid of that? So figure out a plan for your collection. It's the best way to maximize the income for your relatives, or your wife, your kids, et cetera, et cetera. And perhaps there's things that you want to do with the money that you're scrimping and saving now, and you've got this nice collection in the other room that you haven't looked at in years. That happens to all of us as well. Well, maybe now is the time to tap into it, especially if it's comics and cards, because the market is red hot right now. So maybe it is a time to tap into it and get that addition built, get that new roof built, prop up your retirement savings, maybe even pay off the car, pay off debts, do whatever you need to do. If you haven't looked at it in years and it doesn't mean anything to you, you're actually doing your relatives a favor. So figure out an exit plan for your collection, I guess, is the lesson to be had today. Till next video.